forgive me, okay? All right. I hope you can hear me. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of our family, I thank you all for being here today. And I'd like to also thank those of you who traveled from out of state and from Puerto Rico to be with us here today. For those who don't know me, I am Juan Santiago Jr., the smaller one. My dad, he liked to call me the other Sergeant Santiago. In fact, today I speak to you not as a service member, but a son honoring his dad. My dad was born and raised in Puerto Rico on February 6th, 1939, 86 years, 11 months and 4 days ago. Life was not easy back then on the island, and opportunities were limited. I can't look up. If I look up, I'm gonna lose my place. Because I should be wearing my glasses, but you know, that's another thing. With tough times surrounding him, he made a decision that would change the course of his life and the lives of countless others. October 7th, 1958 is when he enlisted in the Army. And after MEPS was completed, he attended a 2-month pre-basic training program at Fort Buchanan in Puerto Rico. That program existed to help prepare enlistees, natural-born citizens, who had a hard time speaking. Most of you heard my dad's accent. He had a very slight accent. So it would help him when he finally got to go to regular basic training in Fort Jackson in South Carolina, and also to his AIT school. The first step into the Army marked the beginning of a lifetime of service, one that truly didn't end until December 12th, 2025, when he finally was relieved from duty. You wouldn't know this, but I could really speak well under normal circumstances. But today, my legs are shaking. I didn't write that down. My legs are shaking. I feel very honored to be here. To the world, my father was Sergeant First Class Juan Santiago, U.S. Army. A patriot, a warrior, and a soldier for life. To me, he was simply Dad, Pops, and sometimes when I called him, I'd ask for Sergeant Santiago when I called him at home. And he would retort, well, hello, Sergeant Santiago. So yes, I am the other Sergeant Santiago. And there are many other Sergeant Santiagos in here, I'm sure. He used to laugh about those early days of learning English, especially the one story about hot dogs. When he found out they weren't really, made from dogs. So he was pretty humble, and he made light of the fact that words were new to him, and that there were language barriers, and he did learn, that hot dogs are actually not dogs. So that was something. We used to rib each other a lot. I mean, ribbing or kidding each other. I remember going to Puerto Rico when I was a young teenager for the first time and meeting friends and relatives relatives, and each time he would introduce me to his friends, and he'd say, "This is my son, no habla." So, you know, for the longest time, I thought my middle name was no habla, but it actually means doesn't speak Spanish. So. But I don't actually have a middle name, but it'd be kind of a cool middle name. Well, I grew up in Hawaii, so there's really not a whole lot of Spanish speaking there. But if you need somebody to interpret for Korean for you, I can speak Korean fairly well. And Carmen can attest to that. As we went to a Korean restaurant and I was showing off. So there really wasn't much Spanish speaking. Should I have picked it up? Yeah, I'm guessing with a name like Juan Santiago. I mean, you know, my dentist office calls me and they'll start speaking Spanish. Whoa, wait a minute. I didn't write that down. I'm just ad-libbing here. But yeah. So my dad's Army career took him all over the world. Fort Buchanan, Fort Jackson, Fort Campbell, Fort Benning, Hawaii, Massachusetts, and ultimately into combat where he served 5 consecutive combat tours in Vietnam. And for those civilians out there, that means 5 years in a row. He was wounded twice. He earned the combat infantry badge, and he was very proud of that badge. You know, not a lot of people got him, but he had it, and he had a lot of sashes on his uniforms that indicate how long he spent in combat. He had air medals. He was a door gunner on a helicopter, and they got shot at a lot, so he earned several air medals, and many other medals and citations. And if I were to read them all, we'd be here all day, you know. So in addition to being an infantry 11 Bravo guy, he was a scout. He served as a helicopter mechanic, a crew chief on a U-21. You see the airplane back there, fixed wing, door gunner on the Huey. He served as a NCOIC of security detail for General Abrams and also General Westmoreland, where, you know, he was in charge of security for those two guys. With the 1st Aviation Brigade. He was, I already read that, so he departed Vietnam in 1970 while he was assigned to the 1st Aviation Brigade. During his time in the combat zone, he picked up Vietnamese language, the Vietnamese language, and he was pretty fluent in it. So a lot of people depended on his interpretations. He supported various special forces operations and Central CIA operations over there, but we can't talk about that because it's classified G4, top secret. Yet despite all of this, he rarely talked about the violence of war that he observed. He just didn't do it. He talked about his guys, he talked about stories, he talked about all the assholes that he met. But yeah, he was something else. When he spoke of war, he spoke about his soldiers, his buddies, his ramrods, the responsibility he felt because he went to Vietnam early in the war. And, you know, he came back and he went to train other folks before they went to Vietnam for a time. And he felt it was his responsibility to train them because they were going to a place that, you know, was very unconventional back then. Jungle warfare is very different than desert warfare. And so he wanted to train them, he wanted to protect them, and he wanted to stand by them. And when he went back to Vietnam, he was with them. It was all about leadership to my father. It was never about rank or authority. It was about responsibility. It was about readiness, doing the right thing when nobody was watching. He placed a high emphasis on taking care of the troops. Those beliefs stayed with him long after Vietnam. After Vietnam, he was still going. You guys know that, right? He helped to build the annual Ramrod reunions held up in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, because he believed that no soldier should ever be forgotten. And those reunions were not just social events. They were family get-togethers. They were soldiers sharing experiences, stories, laughter, and tears. And every year they honored the fallen, you know. There was a group of guys from Vietnam. And I don't know, you guys, most of you in uniform here today probably heard a lot of stories. And it was very important to him that he stayed engaged, you know. So he didn't want anybody to be forgotten. My dad refuses to let those bonds and camaraderie just fade away. I wish as an Air Force guy, because we don't do that. We don't do the reunions like the Army does, or at least the Ramrods do, but I wish we did. Because there are multiple people I've personally met over the years that we still stay in touch. And it just, you know, everybody's so spread out. It would be great to see each other again. So later, in even after retiring from active duty, my dad continued to serve. He followed my bonus mom, Carmen here, the love of his life for 50 years, through assignments across Europe, Asia, and the United States. He worked as a civil service employee for a bit. He supported veterans and even led honor guard details as a civilian. And I think there's one or two of you in here. He showed once you change your uniform to the Ike uniform, and you have to actually polish shoes, that he gave you some hints. I'm pretty sure he did. Pretty sure he did. I was wearing core frames. He's telling me how to shine them. Come on, it's the Air Force guy. So they settled in Melbourne here. He served about 20 years with the Army Center of Influence recruiting program, visited high schools. He spoke about his service, sharing stories and guiding young men and women interested in serving this country in the Army. He mentioned to me that he mentored many of these future soldiers well beyond basic training in AIT. He spoke with their families. He proudly attended dozens and dozens of graduations at the multiple bases that they were at. He followed their career like a proud father, and in many, many ways he truly was. As a civilian, for all his work that he did with the infantry and the aviation folks, my dad was honored. See, I told you I needed my glasses. My dad was honored with the Order of St. Maurice and his contributions to the infantry, and the Order of St. Michael's for his contributions to Army aviation. And he was also awarded the U.S. Army Recruiting Excellence Medallion for his work with the recruiting stations. And he was given a designation as a distinguished member of the 2nd Infantry Regiment. With all these accolades, he was deeply humbled to be inducted into the Florida Hall of Fame. At home, I'd like to say my dad was quiet, but as many of you know, he was a pretty loud guy, pretty loud. Most of it was due to his hearing loss, due to, guns, artillery, and helicopters that'll definitely make you deaf for sure. Still, he taught me by example. He showed me how to stand tall, work hard, and love my ohana, love my family. Those lessons shaped who I am today. My dad also knew how to enjoy life. You know, he wasn't always Sergeant First Class Santiago. When he was home, he loved growing plants, orchids, plumerias. He brought seeds from trees, the flamboyant trees from Puerto Rico, and he's planted like 4 of them in his house here in Melbourne, because he wanted to feel like he was back home in the islands. He enjoyed watching wildlife. At their house, their window is up against a reserve that's undeveloped. It's been undeveloped for ages. It's like protected, and they have deer, and they have raccoon. He'd watch them from the window. He'd take pictures and he'd send them to me. Bobcats and cranes. He enjoyed going on cruises. You probably heard or got an invite to a cruise, I'm sure. I made up a cruise list of friends that, just, hey, you want to go? And then I looked at the list and I had like 143 people I didn't know on that list.
Invited.
Like, hey, Dad, I don't know these people. Oh, hey, don't you worry about it. Just like that. Just like that. You know how he sounded. He sounded like Ricky Ricardo. Come on. I know it and you know it. He loved traveling, and he drove all over the place, and of course he loved his music. Most of all, he loved baseball. He truly loved baseball. He enjoyed working at the Florida Marlins spring training camp. He was very proud when the Marlins won the 1997 World Series, and he was able to get a World Series ring as a staff member. And he treasured it, not for the shine or the bling, but for what it represented. Teamwork, belonging, and pride. And let's be honest, that ring was pretty gnarly looking, pretty nice. So I'd like to take a moment to thank Carmen. You can't ask for better. I can't even look at her. I'm crying. You can't ask for a better bonus mom. She's kind and giving, and she cared for my dad with unwavering devotion and love as his health declined over the past couple of years. 24 hours a day, right up to the end. That's what true love looks like, guys. Their bond lasted for more than 50 years. Carmen, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You are truly a wonderful person, and we love you very, very much. You're the best of the best. Thank you. My dad, I hope this isn't too long. I didn't time myself or anything. I just wrote out how I felt. So my dad survived by Carmen, by me, the other Juan, by my wife Julia, by my daughter Melissa, and what was your name again? Emily, and we got Teresa. Unfortunately they couldn't make it, and Michael and Jonathan, and I don't know about you, but I'll just say it. It's not racist. Puerto Ricans have a lot of kids. So, as a Puerto Rican who doesn't speak Spanish and didn't grow up there, I still wanted to keep my roots, so I had 5 kids. And they had 5 kids, and so on and so forth. So he's got a lot of great grandkids and great grandkids. We're just dispersed all over the place, as most military families, I wish, and part of me wished that I could have just lived in a small town and watched my family grow up and my cousins and all that, but I joined the military to serve this country. So we were all over the place. So was my family. It is what it is, guys. My family's the military guys, the people that I serve with, people that I kept in touch with, even the Army guy in the back. I won't hold it against him. That's Mike back there. So, before I finish, I'll admit it wasn't always easy being the son of a soldier, especially since I chose to join the Air Force. You know, the inter-service banter was relentless. Every phone call. Especially since I chose, you know, I went in the Air Force and he was like, man. But how many times did I hear him say things like over and over? And a lot of Army guys do that. I don't know why. You know, why does the Air Force always stay in hotels? And we're in tents. We're in tents. I don't know. But I think I picked a good service to be in. 5-star hotels, by the way. You know, in my head, I can still hear my dad's voice saying, banter, guys. He'd look at his watch. Hey, John. What time does the ice cream truck show up at the Air Force Base? You know. I knew he was proud of me anyway. I knew, you know, being in the Air Force was a good thing for me, and he was proud of me. And as I was proud of his service and accomplishment as well as Carmen's. So, well, that's it for me for now. I'll come back up after anybody who likes to speak, you know, say the last words, but I'd like to invite anyone who'd like to come forward and share a story or a memory to help us celebrate this man right here. No pressure. If you don't want to come up, that's cool. I understand it. Anybody? It's an Army guy.
Well, my name is Tim Thomas, and I retired from the Army in 2010. And once I retired from the Army, I was asked by Vera High School to start up an Army JROTC program that previously didn't exist. And so we did that. We started up the program and very quickly became one of the largest in the county. We averaged about 200 cadets every year. So 2 of the local veterans in this community that came out and reached out to me immediately were Major General John Cleland and, of course, Sergeant First Class retired Juan Santiago. And they just had such a tremendous impact. And so what we did when we first started up the program, we wanted to get veterans in the classroom to talk to our students. And Juan was one of the very first ones. So again, you've got this strikingly good-looking older gentleman that still fits his uniform and looks strapped to come in and talk to these kids about serving something bigger than yourself, loving your country, and treating others with dignity and respect. And so over the course of my 14 years there at Vera High School, he must have spoke to over 2,000 students. And the number of students that ended up enlisting in one of the branches of the military or serving in the fire department locally or the sheriff's department locally, you can't count those because of the impact. And so, you know, one of the things that we all should look at in our lives is the legacy. You know, awards, accolades, praise, that's all fine and good, but you know what? All that goes away. What really matters is what people remember of you after you're gone. And that song that you wrote, The Soldier, Soldier, man, that should tell you everything that you need to know about Juan's legacy. And so it's an honor for me to have known Juan and to have seen his contributions that he made to this community and to the nation. And Carmen, I want to compliment you. Y'all were truly an Army team. You know, an Army talks team all the time. It's very important. And to have a wife and a husband that dedicated their life to serve in this country, and then even afterwards, you're going and you're watching kids, you know, graduate from basic training, and you're still supporting them and mentoring them. Man, that's a tremendous legacy, and you're a part of that. So, you know, I just want to come up here and thank again Juan for everything he did to support our nation, and thank you.
Good morning. My name is Cheryl. I know Mr. Santiago from, well, my husband got us together for Veterans Day. He came and he spoke to 5th and 6th graders at Sunrise Elementary School. And we played phone tag back and forth and finally secured a time and everything. He's like, what time do you want me to be there? I said, 8 o'clock. Well, he was there at 7. And he's calling me on the phone, where are you? You're late. I'm like, well, I don't have to be there till 7:15. So he was there, he had everything set up, but his presentation started at 8:15. So he just wandered around through the cafeteria, speaking to all the little kids, and they were just amazed because he looked so sharp and professional in his uniform. And he's speaking to all of the children and the different teachers, gave an amazing presentation about his job and the time that he was in Vietnam, answered questions for the children, encouraged them to get good grades and to be productive citizens. But I want to thank you, Ms. Carmen, for allowing him to come to our school. And I kept telling him, you're not retired, you're still out and about teaching, encouraging so many people. So thank you so much. After that, he and I would text back and forth, Facebook friends, so we were able to keep our relationship. So I appreciate that.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Ken Johnson. I'm also Army retired. Anyway, I work at Bayside High School, and Juan and I got a chance to connect through. It was a recruiter that came to Bayside to talk to some of the students. So they brought Juan, and we connected immediately. And I arranged for him to come back as well to talk to the students. And actually, it would be an annual visit where he would come back and talk to the students. One particular time when he came back, he had got the new pink and greens, the new Army uniform. So when he came into the classroom, he was looking sharp. And I'm like, so where'd you get the uniform? He told me where he got it and everything. He was like, hey, Top, he's called me Top, you should get you a set as well. They're expensive. You know, so anyway, make a long story short, I actually purchased a set of the greens, the pink and greens, and then he contacted me. He said, you got them? I'm like, yeah. He said, if you want, I could shine your shoes, you know, really put a real good shine on them. I'm like, I got it. He contacted me again, and like, you sure? I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna allow him to do it. And I allowed him to do it. And the shine that they currently have is still the shine that he put on. Because whenever I do, you know, whenever I do wear it, I make sure, you know, us Army people understand. Once they're shine, we try our best not to mess them up. All right. But one thing I want to really put, when Juan would come into the classrooms, the students would love it. One of the first things he would do is he would say, who's here from Puerto Rico? How many Puerto Rican students do I have? And then they would raise their hands. Okay. And then he would start speaking to them, you know, in their language, and they would just light up. And then at one time in particular, there was a young man who could speak Japanese. So Juan started having dialogue back and forth in Japanese. Soon as Juan said something to him, the young man just lit up, and they started going back and forth, and the kids were looking like in amazement, like, wow, you know, Juan was so talented in so many areas. I know he's known as Sergeant First Class Santiago, but to me, he has the stature of a general. All right, he's known throughout Brevard County schools. If many of the students, you know, Mr. Thomas mentioned how he came out to Vieira, and, you know, and did a lot of speaking there. He was throughout Brevard County, from the south end to the north end. And if a lot of those students knew that he had passed, this place would be flooded with young people. And that's what I love about Mr. Sergeant First Class Santiago is he had an uncanny ability to really just impact students, young people. And that's what we need nowadays in the school system. We need more Sergeant First Class Santiagos to come into the schools. He wasn't afraid to. One time I had this one class, I had a few students wanted, you know, have a little sidebar conversation. That authority came out in him, and he quickly reeled them back in. And they sat there like they were afraid, right? But he did it in a respectful manner, and that's what's needed. So, to the family, thank you guys for sharing Juan with us. He's gonna be missed, but the legacy, someone said it earlier, the legacy will outlive his time on earth. So we thank you guys, thank you for the opportunity. I just gotta tell you, you sound just like you. I might get your number and call you up on occasion and say, hey, hit it one time.
Hey, how you doing?
That's it. Sound just, but thank you guys so much. Thank you guys.
Good morning, everybody. I'm from First Class Ferguson. I didn't write a speech, but I could probably talk about this young man for a long time, which I won't do today. But the first time I met Juan, he come into the recruiting station, and I'd been in Rockledge recruiting station for probably a couple days. And he walked straight up to me, and he looked at me, and he pointed at my uniform, and he said, "Almost infantry." And I said, who is this, and what is he talking about? And he pointed at my combat action badge, and he said, "You're almost infantry." And I said, yes sir, I am. You know, I didn't know who he was at the time. I didn't know he had been in the community for so long. And he gave me his business card, and he told me that if I needed any help with recruiting or any assistance with getting out in the schools in the community, that he would do that. Well, I took full advantage of that opportunity because, believe it or not, I was scared to death to talk in front of people. You know, I had 2 combat tours before I became a recruiter, and I'd done so much of my career, but speaking on stuff I didn't know too much about or breaking ice or getting out in front of people was kind of scary to me. So he would go to the presentations, and I would let him talk first and open up the floor. And on multiple times, I'd have to be in the corner going, "Hey, Juan, let me get a little bit of time here." Because he loved to talk and he enjoyed what he was doing. So everybody knows that Juan loved the spotlight, and so I know right now this young man is smiling down at this moment with everybody here because he loved to be in the spotlight. I got a call one day from a colonel, Colonel Lopez, he took over 3rd Recruiting Brigade, and he said, "Hey, this is Colonel Lopez," and I was like, "Oh man, what did I do?" You know, I'm thinking I'm in trouble or something had happened. And he said, "I want to ask you about this Juan Santiago guy. I see him all over Facebook, and I see a lot of this stuff he's doing." He's like, "Can we borrow him? Can we duplicate him or clone him so I can get him up here?" And I think Colonel Lopez was also a part of the Ramrods, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe.
Yes, he was.
He was, so okay.
Battalion commander.
And I think y'all went to the change of command for him. So Juan was not just known locally, he was known across the entire recruiting command and respected. And me and Colonel Norton got together one day and put him in for the USAREC award. I finally got somebody who would assist me. So I was very proud to assist and be a part of that. I got a call one day from the local paper, had a conversation, and they wrote a good article about him. I have that posted on my wall in my recruiting office now. And I'm very proud of being able to be a part of this life. And share part of y'all's family members. I told Carmen one time, I said, "Thank you so much for letting him come out here and talk with us." She's like, "Oh, get him out the house." Get him out the house. Just keep him busy, keep him busy, because she knew how much he enjoyed it, and it probably allowed her time to do some stuff that she, do her stuff. So, just what a great individual. I mean, I kept in contact with him. I flew all the way down here from New York because it meant that much to me, and he meant that much to me. So Yes, thank you very much for sharing Juan Santiago with us, and he will be greatly missed, and we truly appreciate him. So.
I don't do these things, so I hate funerals. Juan, so he's held my kids, and he gave me these shoes. I'm not gonna cry, but the last funeral I've been to was in 2006 in Iraq, and I don't do funerals, so it's just really, really bad. But I like to have fun, or I want to have fun at this because it's a celebration of life, not of like, we did lose him, but the recruiting office in Melbourne, we saw this man like every day. And we were with him from like 9 a.m. to like, I don't even know, so late. We would have him at our balls. Carmen and Juan invited us to the dinner party. He held my firstborn. We ran into them at the car dealership. My kids were like, "Hey, it's Juan." So Juan to me was my old man, my grandpa, because that's how we talk to each other. Fellow infantryman. He always gave us, if you don't have one of these little jammies, you probably didn't see him enough because he would throw these at your face. Now I'm a little better, but sorry. But I wanted Ferguson to stay up here with us because we have so many recruiters out here right now that have worked with Juan, been with Juan. I'm sorry to say, he was ours because we saw him so much. And he was so military that he was just ours. We'd be like, Juan, you want to come with us to school? He's like, yeah. We wanted him there. And if somebody didn't want him there, we weren't going to be there. So for the family, just know that we treated him like ours. And even though he wasn't with you all the time, he was my old man, super funny guy, always about the military, will tell you straight up if he didn't like something.
Oh yeah.
If you were wrong, he would tell you were wrong. But I wasn't gonna come to this funeral. I told him I wasn't gonna come, but I made it just because of him. So that's it. Thanks for standing up here with me.
And I'll just say one last thing. I seen a picture earlier for it was all the Melbourne crew during a class presentation. So on Juan's birthday every year, we would go to O'Galley High School and I would buy a cake and they would announce his birthday over the morning announcements and then every class would sing happy birthday to him. And he truly, truly appreciated that because obviously he loved the spotlighting. And then you mentioned about his World Series ring and how flashy and stuff it is. He'd always go in and he'd say, I got all my blinky blinky is what he'd say, and show his rings off and everything. So thank y'all very much.
I'm not really good at speaking in public, just like Sergeant First Class Ferguson. And he would say I'm one of the only guys that make it through basic training at Sergeant. I did not make it through the first time, but every recycle I got because I was hurt, he was there. He did not leave me. He was there for my graduation 9 months later. He didn't care that I was just another person he met in the recruiting office. He and Carmen, I love you guys. You guys are awesome. My mom's disabled, and you guys went above and beyond and drove here from Melbourne, rented a van, a handicapped van, and drove all the way to Fort Benning just for Juan to pin my blue cord on me. That was one of the proudest moments of my life. And I don't know what to say, to be honest. But I'm sorry. I love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's good to meet you as well. You do sound all like
Thank you. Thank you.
Alright, what can we not say about Juan Santiago? Everybody's basically covered everything, you know? So I'll try to hit some of the areas that nobody hit. He would always come to presentations with his Cuban sandwich. He'd always be like, "Hey, do you want the hot mustard? You know, are you really about it?" And then he'd give us Puerto Rican coffee. And with that Puerto Rican coffee, every time we took it, we'd be like, "Hey, we gotta go." And you know, you kind of see that twinkle in his eye, because then he could lead the presentation and do whatever he wants, you know. But he always took the spotlight from us. Always. Me and Ulysses, we've always invited him to every single presentation we have. We've always, you know, loved Juan. There's been so many late nights with him, so many times. I mean, he was saying, he held my firstborn, he held Emma, and he still tried to hold her 12 years later. Now, Emma's a little heavier, so and then him trying to win over my littlest now, you know, she's kind of shy. So he actually won her over right before Thanksgiving, and, you know, they were taking pictures together, and it was amazing. He's been like my dad. You know, this man right here has done everything better than me and before me, you know, and I follow in his footsteps, but Juan has always been there from throughout when he met me. He never asked for anything in return. Like you said, a soldier, I can't think of, you just took the words out of my mouth. Like that is Juan Santiago. I've never met a more impressionable man in my life. I used to call him my dad all the time. Ask Carmen, I'd be like, "Pa, you know, what's going on?" You know, he gave me my first salute. He's like I said, he's...
Yeah, so like what Ricky was talking about, which is kind of fitting because we gave him a gift probably, I'd probably say like 10 years ago. It was a globe, and it said, you know, like the dynamic trio. And I was the redheaded stepchild between two infantry guys. And then every picture, they would both hold up their blue cord and make me feel like the lesser, because I was the MP or whatnot. But Juan again used to bring us Cuban sandwiches, and I remember he would always bring diet ginger ale, because he said, "Hey, you know, Sergeant, you need to lay off the candy because you're getting kind of fat." You know, so and he would always bring sugar-free freaking soda and these big old Cuban sandwiches for every presentation. But yeah, this man is beyond like such an influence to me that I did see him as like a father figure, and I saw Carmen as a mother figure, because after I left recruiting or whatnot, he influenced me to go OCS and keep pushing myself. And then I would reach out, or I would talk to Carmen about the officer side of the house. And then coincidentally, this guy went OCS. And then Juan, you know, drove up to Fort Benning, gave me my first, you know, salute. He made sure to say, "Hey, I want my silver dollar." He's like, "Hey, I want my silver dollar." He gave, he was my first salute on that one. And then when he presented me this medal of St. Maurice, he drove all the way to Fort Leonard Wood again just to do that for me in the middle of, you know, pandemic. I think it was 2020 around that time. So it just goes to show that it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if you're, you know, just now joining the service or you've been in the service 10 years. Juan would travel wherever, as long as you just invite him. Like, he would drop anything. And like I'm happy that I was able to see him earlier this year and then kind of, you know, just catch up with him and everything like that. But for the last 10, you know, decade plus, you know, I would talk to him all the time. He'd randomly call me and just give me advice and kind of like mentor me through my journey in the military. And like, his impact on my life is beyond, like, I like beyond words. Like it's amazing. And then just seeing everyone here, and then just seeing that, you know, like, man, I'm just a loss for words, and just looking at him and just going through all the memories, all the presentations, all the laughs, all the breakfasts and dinners at Perkins and stuff like that, all the, you know, parades or the military balls and everything like that. It's just like, I can go on and on about the memories that, you know, me, Juan, Ricky, my family has shared, and it's yeah, he will be missed, but he will never be forgotten. That's for sure. Like, and again, thank you, Carmen. Thank you,
Yes.
Juan Jr. It's yeah. Thank you.
Yep, and
Yep.
like you said, I just see him in that Cadillac, the new Cadillac every year. He's like, "Come out here, you got to see, it's new, it's new." You know, I got it. So, thank you.
400 horsepower.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem. Take your time.
Okay. Hello, I'm retired Sergeant First Class Jessica Mitchell, and I had to come up here because all of you Melbourne that are claiming he's yours, my banter is he was mine first. He told everybody he started in recruiting with me. It was before y'all were in the mall, but no, I love that we got to share him over all of these years. He's been fantastic. I used to tell everyone he was my best recruiter. None of mine are, yeah. But he was my best recruiter the whole time I had him there. And he got us, Heritage was a brand new high school. I remember he went there. He was the reason we were able to get into that high school. Did a lot of hard work for us. And watching him over the years with all of the applicants that went through has been amazing. I followed him and Carmen and all of their travels everywhere with them. And the legacy is true. My two oldest boys both have coins from him as well. They're both in the Army now, and we send our condolences, and we love Juan, we love you, Carmen. We appreciate you all the time. I watched him coin generals at I don't know how many different ceremonies, and you were always standing there behind him, letting him have his moments, so we love you for that too. All right, thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm gonna make this short and brief. At least I'm gonna try to. Gonzalez, that's me. That's how he called me every time he came to visit. I worked in Heritage High School since it opened, and I retired going on 3 years ago. Juan was not just a friend, he became family. My daughter calls him, used to call Uncle Juan. She comes to me, "Oh, you met Uncle Juan." I say, "You don't have an Uncle Juan." So he was in your class today. I stopped for a minute. I said, "Santiago." She says, "Yeah, that's Uncle Juan." I says, "Okay." And truly, truly, he was a family to us. During his visits, I have 2 family members that got into the military, and they're still there. And they said they're not leaving. They're following Uncle Juan's footsteps. It was really good. But I wanted to point out what Cheryl said. He was military, right? He was always on time. And he would tell me when he get into my room, he would say, "Gonzalez, come on, man." I said, "What?" He said, "I could never call you to tell you you're late." I said, "Juan, I get here at 6:30. He says, "Oh, I ain't getting here at 6:30. It's 7 o'clock top." So one day he was late and he called me frantic. "I'm not late. I'm stuck in traffic on Malabar, but I've been stuck in traffic since 6:45. I says, "Juan, cool, calm down. You know, class hasn't even started yet." The most important thing was that coffee. Every time he went to Puerto Rico, "González, te traje café," you know? And even when he was not going to visit my classroom, he would call me down to the front office. I say, "Juan, he's not scheduled today." "No, llegué de Puerto Rico, here's your coffee." That coffee, I'm gonna miss that coffee. And every time, I was born and raised Bronx, New York, he says, "Oh, I knew you was from New York." I said, "Why?" He said, "Your accent." I said, "You talking about accent?" But I moved to Puerto Rico and I lived 20 years in Salinas. He said, "You lived in Salinas, you never went to La Pinta de Salinas?" I said, "No." He says, "You have to go." I said, "Why?" He said, "My sister owns that. You have to meet my sister." "Sister? Hi." I'm Gonzalez, and he just wanted me to meet you. I never got to meet you, so under the circumstances, thank you.
All right, so I just want everyone to kind of look around the room right now, you know, and kind of see the impact that this man has had. When my day comes to be in front of the Lord, I hope I have even a quarter of the amount of people who are in here today. And that's his legacy, you know. He impacted so many people. There were countless, from the younger generations to the old. Juan, a soldier. I couldn't think of a better title. And I know Juan affectionately as abuelo, grandpa. Like many of you, he taught me about the ramrods. He also taught me about the Boricuaneers. All right, I'm Buccaneers, yeah, football team, right? No, the Boricuaneers. All right. And if you don't know that, go ahead and Google it. If you have a coin, that was kind of a symbol of how much you knew Juan, right? Because I swear he carried like 20 of those things around in his pocket all the time. But he also gave me a quarter, and it had the Boricuaneers on it, right? I didn't know that was even a thing, right? But he did, right? And he was just so enveloped in history. If you were a recruiter and you met Juan during your time recruiting, please just raise your hand real quick. There we go. That's how much he was in those recruiting offices. And I know he favored Melbourne over Rockledge. I was part of the Rockledge Recruiting Center. But he favored Melbourne, you know, quite a bit. I think one of those reasons was probably because Ricky over there. If you didn't notice, they got the same style haircut. They shared the blue infantry cord, and so those things right there, you can't separate them one from the other. Both great looking men. All right, and I'll always tell you that, Ricky. All right, but Juan, he's a gem. Now, there's one thing I always gave him crap about. Yes, he had his infantry cord. Yes, he swung it around mighty heavily. But one thing that he didn't have was those airborne wings. And so I always gave him crap about it every time I saw him. And he'd come up with this excuse, oh, I was in Vietnam, big deal. All right? You know, flying around in helicopters and whatnot. But I always gave him crap about it because while I don't have that blue cord, you know, I did have those airborne wings. But I think even now, you know, he's surpassed me because he has the greatest wings of all, and one that we all hope to achieve one day, to earn. Juan has rightfully earned those wings, and it's not goodbye. It's always I'll see you later. And so thank you, Carmen, for sharing him with us. He's truly a one-of-one individual, and your marriage, your relationship is one that I deeply and truly admire. So thank you for sharing him with us. And Juan, thank you.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. My name is Daniel Torres Santiago. Santiago, huh? Wow. My uncle, what you can say about it? A lot of good things. I heard about a lot of good things you people say about him. Shiny shoes? Yeah, I got that headache. Yeah. Every time we visit us in Puerto Rico, my mom say, hey, you clean your shoes? Why? Uncle coming. Oh my God. We run in and get the shoes and get it clean and all that. Oh yeah, all the time. And he inspected it. He goes to me like, hey Danny, where's your shoes? I say, there in the room. I say, I want to see it. Okay? I show him, he goes like, oh, you can get better. About the coffee. Oh my God, what do you call it? La puta madre. That's what he called it, that coffee. He drove me to that place one time. He said, Danny, every time you came into Adjuntas, Puerto Rico, came here and buy some coffee. Because I want you drinking that coffee. I love coffee. I grew up drinking coffee, okay. But with him, you have to drink coffee all day. You know, he's not working with a coffee maker because he got the hands full all the time, but he can do that too. Yeah. So, you know, it's a big loss for us. My brother here, he knows. Every time he goes to see us, right? When we are kids, he say, remember, we love you guys. He say all the time, I'm not close to you, because I have a lot of stuff to do. But I got you guys in my heart. It's more like an uncle for me. And that's a big loss for us. We lost a great guy. And I want to miss him all my life. Carmen, thank you for being in our life too. Thank you.
Wow. My name is Malcolm Dare. I'm his nephew from New York. Just want to tell a couple stories. One of the, remember, he used to come every summer as a kid, visit mom and dad up there, and always used to give me grief, of course. No boots to shine, but sneakers, just sneakers are dirty. It was great, right? Growing up in Brooklyn, he would come, and everyone knew he was around because he had a big black Chevy truck with all the stickers in the back. Used to always show them off, right? All the Purple Hearts. And I remember, I don't know where we had to go, and I was riding with him. We stopped for coffee, Dunkin' Donuts. And he parked the truck, went in, came back, and there was a NYPD double parked next to the truck. Normal in New York, right? Double parking. And he said, "Hey, you, move that car. You're in my way." And he's like, "Who are you?" The cop. Tell him. He said, "You see my truck? You see, just so proud." Right. He was Uncle Juan. Jasmine's mother came up and said, "Uncle Juan," because her daughter's here. He met him while we went to school here in Florida Tech. I ended up coming to college here in Florida Tech. I wanted to fly planes, and I did get my license and all, and did that for a bit. And he was so proud of that too. But I ended up coming to Brooklyn to Florida Tech, and he actually co-signed my loans with Carmen, which I proudly paid back. And I thank him for that. Would not have had that opportunity. I'm never on time, by the way. He knew that. One story I will say is I visited him summer here. Spent a couple weeks here. Take me fishing, Melbourne. He wanted to leave at 4 in the morning or something like that. I said, I'll be up, sure. Knocked on the door, I remember. 5 more minutes, okay. He grabbed a pot of water, just right out of bed. That was Uncle Juan. A reason why, just going back to Florida Tech, all my friends there know him as Uncle Juan. And he actually, I remember going to his house, watch boxing one day. All the guys came over. He loved boxing and baseball. And a few of my guys played baseball here at Florida Tech. So really kind of gave him a ribbing back and forth. But again, it just shows you the man he was. It was
sort of military, regimented, but he was a great guy and cool, you know. And that's how I remember him. You know, it's just tons of stories. I actually got on my first roller coaster with him in Tampa. I don't know if he wanted to go on or not, but he's all right. Come on, man, let's go. And that, or going to Gatorland and eating chicken nuggets, and all of a sudden he's dying in laughter. And he's like, "You're eating gator, man. That's those gator nuggets." And he was a prankster. So I said,
Tastes like chicken.
Tastes like chicken. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, it's just a great man. It will be missed. Carmen, thank you. All you did for me. And,
Thank you all for sharing your stories. We have one more.
Yes, you have. If you don't mind, it'd be short and quick. You gotta let me do this one.
All right.
Juan Santiago. I'm a Sergeant First Class, retired U.S. Army. I'm an engineer. He's reached out to me as well. He's been a good friend of mine since 2002, I believe. And I met him through his son. And the one thing he has sent to all you people that you may not realize, his outgoingness, his willingness, his love for people. I see it right in this. Come here. One of my best friends, Juan Santiago.
You know.
Yeah, the Godfather's here, brother.
Yeah.
I am the godfather of his daughter as well. And Juan and Carmen, I didn't have family here. I'm in Georgia, and he reached out and met me and treated me just like family, like he has everybody else. Juan, Carmen both have, and so has Juan. And we've been friends and for a long time. And I want to thank everybody here, from me truly, as an Army guy, saying thank you so much for such a great person. You know, truly missed, and I love this guy. Thank you.
One more.
We're not leaving yet. We're staying.
Hi.
Mine's there too. Pick one.
I met Sergeant First Class Juan Santiago when I got assigned to Central Florida Recruiting Company. My first time meeting him, we were at the beach doing a family day. And I mean, he's just sitting there with his bride, just looking sharp. And I'm like, who's this guy? I never, like, so then the soldiers is telling me who he is. And before the end of the event, he's like, hey, I gotta talk to you. So then we get in the middle. He's like, hey, you gotta take a picture. It's like, hey, take the picture. So my first sergeant's like standing there taking the picture. Then at this point, he's giving me a coin from Vietnam. There's a whole story behind the coin. And we're having a whole conversation, and I'm bashful. I'm an introvert. So we're in the middle, and I just didn't feel like I was dressed appropriately. He's just like, no, you're fine. And every single time I saw him, I had a coin. And I had a story behind it. And one of the main things he told me was, I like you. You care about soldiers. And I think I kept that with me. The last time I saw him was May 29th. And he came to us in St. Cloud. And I wish I would have just hugged him a little bit more, because I didn't realize that was gonna be the last time that I would see him. But he made a lot of impact on me as a leader, made impact on me as a person. Just so when I was notified that I had to be here today, and I found out the day, I thought about you, Carmen. Your anniversary was coming right up, and that was one of the days that I wrote all of these things in my calendar so that I could remember. And so I thought about you. I didn't know whether to call or not, but I'm here today. And I just want you to know I'm thinking about you in my heart, and I'm praying for you.
Good afternoon. My name is Sergeant James. I'm currently recruiting starting at Melbourne, so I'm the newest one. Everyone else here. I really wasn't going to say anything, but from what I've heard, I'm the only other ramrod here. So before I came to recruiting, I actually met Juan at the 2-2 ball in Louisiana. For those of you who've been to a ball, I was a little intoxicated at the time when I first met him. This nice, handsome gentleman asked me where my blue cord was, and I told him I'm a port observer, not an instrument. He's like, well, we sure ramrod. So he was telling me about what he did, what he was doing. I was like, yes, sir, I'm about to go recruiting. He's like, awesome, follow me on Facebook, give me a call when you graduate the ARC. I was like, yes, sir. About the time I was getting my assignment, I shot him a text, I'm like, hey, about to graduate. He's like, awesome, we're coming to Melbourne. And I had no clue where it was. And sure enough, the sergeant called me. He was like, how do you know Juan? And I was like, we met at 2-2 ball. He was like, all right, cool, we're coming to Melbourne. So, and made it happen. Still, to this day, I always told me, at least you're Ramrod. We'll worry about the blue cord later on. So, yeah, great guy, Carmen. Again, thank you for everything. Thank you for letting this to us. Amazing man, helped me out a lot. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. So my dad, man, I'm all right.
Yeah, you're right.
It was the tie.
Yes. Allergies.
So my dad carried around a piece of paper. This is just a copy of it in his pocket when he went to the high schools or when he went to the events. And he would get up in front of people and say, I am a soldier for life. As a young man, I chose to serve my country as a soldier. I shed my blood for the country, for my country, along many other buddies who shed their lives. As an older soldier, I choose to serve my country as a mentor to young soldiers who will replace me. I am a soldier for life. Definitely gonna keep this. If I can ask those of you who are military, retired military, please be ready. Room 10 hut. Present arms. Thank you, Sergeant Santiago. Your post is relieved. Your mission is complete. Order arms. At ease. Thank you all today for attending this service. My father's funeral mass will be down the street at St. John's, the Evangelistic Catholic Church service, which starts at 1 p.m. today. It's right down at 5655 Stadium Parkway. If you don't know where it's at and you want to get the address, come and see me. I'll be at the door on the way out. There will be no burial today for my father, as he wished to be buried at Arlington National Cemetery, and there's a waiting list. You know, there's a lot of military out there, and it just takes time to process paperwork and get things scheduled. But when we do hear about that, we'll definitely let everyone know. And again, my kids that are here, my wife Carmen, and cousins I've never even met before, my aunt Linda, my Uncle Edwin, and my Uncle Angel. Thank you for coming from Puerto Rico. This really means a lot for me. For my brothers, even the Army one. I love you guys. I love everybody here.
I want to say one thing. I'm not going to go up there. I just want to thank you all for coming. I'm sorry if I couldn't spend some time talking to you all, but thank you for coming. Juan would be smiling.
Absolutely. That's it from me. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. My dad definitely would be. He is smiling down from above, and you know how he was. Hey,
you know. Every time he wants to give advice, I could hear it, because he would always lead off with, hey, John. Thank you, guys.
I'm gonna be hearing Richard Carter in my head.